Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out AmItheA whole. Story 1. AITA for reporting my friend to his work and getting him fired because he refused to give my books back. I, 27F, recently had some friends over at my house for my birthday. I have a book collection with some signed books by relatively famous authors. They're not behind a locked shelf or anything, but they're in my room. After they left, I noticed that few of my books were gone, and someone mentioned that J, 28M, claimed I let him borrow the books. I called Jay and yelled at him about lying and stealing my books. He tried to explain that he was taking them to his bookstore, to get them officially appraised, and it was supposed to be a surprise gift. I chewed him off and asked him how that's considered a gift and I wanted the books back. He refused. I told him I will be calling the cops his work if he doesn't, and he still refused to bring them back. I immediately called the cops to file a police report and waited until the morning to call his work. I gave them all the details, including the case number, and said I'll be coming with an officer to get my books back from Jay that day. His work cooperated with me and promptly fired Jay after I got my books back. Jay claims that I went too far over a few books and demands that I give him money until he finds another job. AITA. Story 2. AITA for embarrassing a guy with a shy bladder at work. The men's room where I work has a wall of urinals and 4 stalls. There is one guy who apparently cannot use a urinal. However, he must have a fire hose and a sore back because he never lifts the seat when he urinates and he pisses all over the toilet. Like not just a little sprinkle either. He gets it on the seat, the tank, the floor. I'm surprised he doesn't hit the walls. I'm overweight myself and I have trouble using the urinals sometimes. So I tend to use a stall. But I sit to take care of number 1 as well as number 2. Anyways, I put up a sign in the stalls that I remembered from my grandparents' home. If you sprinkle when you tinkle, be a sweetie and wipe the seatie. He took this as a personal attack. He ripped them all down and came into the break room and was yelling about having a shy bladder and that he doesn't have to use a urinal and a bunch of other stuff. The thing is, none of us knew for sure it was him that did it. I didn't target him or anything. I talked privately to him and told him that the signs were for everyone and that he just outed himself. He called me an asshole for making him embarrass himself and that he was going to HR. I was just trying to politely ask everyone to clean up after themselves. AITA. Story 3. AITA for deciding to be a princess for an evening. I, 31F, have been going through a lot in life currently. I've been unable to find work, I'm barely pulling together my rent, I've been seeing a resurgence of my depression. I'm fighting tooth and nail to keep going. The other night was karaoke night and my friends, myself and my niece/old roommate who we will call D, 23F, were there. Earlier this week I had found a set of Disneyland ears a very close friend got me when we went. They are Disney princess ears and he literally got them to remind me I am always a princess. They were in my car when I parked at karaoke and decided I really needed the reminder. I decided to wear them. Dee saw my ears and was immediately annoyed. She asked why I was wearing that. I told the truth, that I just needed to feel good for a night, and all of our group saw that it made me happy and thought it was a fun thing. Dee was not at all cool with it. Whenever other regulars made. Story 4. AITA for asking my 23F husband, 37M, to please not put his charger in my expensive box. I am 23 and my husband is 37. We have one child who is 4. I'm a stay-at-home mom and do all of the cleaning, laundry, etc. He works from home permanently. He works about 4 days per week, maybe 4 to 5 hours on his computer / makes his own schedule. I feel completely overwhelmed with housework. I have several chronic illnesses such as POTS, and severe hypoglycemia. My sugar has dropped to 27 and it's extremely dangerous for me. My husband doesn't put anything back. I've had many conversations with him and explain that it makes my job harder by having to go around cleaning up after him. I have 2 really nice decorative mother of pearl boxes, about $200. They are for decorative use only and really fragile. I cleared a whole shelf off in our master bedroom closet for his 2 laptops and chargers/accessories for him. I moved my things so he would have the room. He said thanks and that worked well. Today he started giving me a hard time he couldn't put his charger in my nice box. I explained that opening and closing that every day isn't really good for it and I really don't want him to use that for his charger. He actually has an entire room downstairs he could use as an office but chooses to use the dining table, which is fine. Apparently it's too much work for him to get his charger out of the closet in the morning and bring it to the kitchen. It doesn't make sense because he has to open the closet anyways to get his laptop. My birthday is tomorrow and it seems like every year he starts nagging at me or starting fights before my birthday. AITA for not wanting him to put his charger in my special box? He's mad at me. Story 5. AITA for not wanting to go on a trip with my pregnant fian that I can't afford. My fian, 31F, and I, 30M, are expecting a baby in November. We both have full-time jobs, a mortgage, and 2 dogs. I cover around 80 to 90% of the household expenses, including the mortgage, power, insurance, internet, and water bill. She only pays for gas and groceries, and I usually cover the bill when we eat out. We've had this arrangement for several years. We have this arrangement because my income is a lot higher than hers and she has a car payment and student loans she's paying off. Recently, with the baby on the way, I've expressed the need for more careful spending. We've been discussing bigger expenses. However, today she suggested going to Mexico to visit her godkids. She got upset when I expressed my inability to afford an unplanned trip, especially considering the expenses we've already had this year. We took a trip to Denver in April, went to South Carolina last month for my uncle's birthday party, and I'm soon heading back to South Carolina to discuss his will since he has cancer and wants my assistance with carrying out his will. The tickets for the Mexico trip alone are currently around $600 each, and the total cost of the trip would likely be at least $2,000, considering other expenses there. When she asked if I wanted to go, I honestly told her that I can't afford it due to the unexpected expenses we've already had this year. I have more credit card debt than savings at the moment and need to focus on reducing it. Additionally, as first-time parents, we should be financially prepared for any unexpected expenses that may arise. I also reminded her that I lent her $2,000 recently to pay her income tax bill, which she promised to repay as soon as she could save up the money. She accused me of being selfish and claimed this might be our last chance to travel before the baby arrives. I suggested a more budget-friendly alternative, like a local trip to San Antonio using my accumulated points for a 2-night stay. However, she instantly rejected the idea and insisted on seeing her godkids. I then told her that if she really wants to go, she can do so, as I believe it's more important for us to be financially stable before the baby arrives in 5 months. We haven't made any major purchases yet, despite her sisters planning a baby shower. As I'm typing this, she is ignoring me and not speaking to me. AITA? Update: last night I sent her a screenshot showing my credit card debit and my savings account to her. I told her I'm basically paycheck to paycheck now because life has been a bit more expensive these past few months than expected. I've cut back on steaming services, eating out, etc. We used to eat out once a weekend for date night. She said I'm overreacting and she would sell some concert tickets she had bought to get money back. She said money comes and goes, and I should live in the moment. I told her I'm more worried about making sure we have a home and her suggestion was well we can sell and downsize. Update 2: if anyone who's had kids has some numbers on what stuff cost, feel free to send them to me or drop them in the post. I'm planning to have a sit down and infuse logic with facts. She clearly thinks I'm crazy on it not working. Also thanks to those for pointing out Zika, I hadn't even considered that tbh. Update 3: we're using her health insurance for delivery. As of right now they told her for delivery she might hit the deductible through her appointments. For her DR appointment is $280 each time. We have been splitting the costs. She has maternity leave for 8 weeks through her job, and then I get 4 months parental leave. Story 6. AITA for my affair ruining my podcast. For the past year, I have been part of a D&D podcast with Gem, 25F, Eve, 30F, May, 22F, and Rain, 30NB. Chuck, 25M, is the DM. May and Rain have dated for 4 years, their characters are dating in the show, and have forced their relationship to be the show's focus. Development for any other character is always second to their flirting. Once, when setting up a rare plot point for my character, I was cut off in the middle so the two of them could flirt for the remaining 2 hours of the session. This stretches 1 to 2 episodes into 8+ episodes. All social media is about their relationship, with no mention of other characters. I talked to Chuck about these issues, but he excused the behavior as May and Rain being big personalities that deserve more of the spotlight. There have been many other cases of problematic behavior by May and Rain, like censorship, keeping players from opportunities, and recording through medical issues. Recently Eve left because of these issues. Gem, Eve, and I are close from talking about issues we have in our lives and the podcast. Last night I was pulled into a group call with the cast and was fired from the podcast for inappropriate behavior. They said Gem told them details about our friendship. They demanded that I fess up to an affair with Gem and disgusting behavior, although everything they listed as problematic was just normal friend behavior. Gem was as confused as I was, as we are just friends, and we both said as such. Here is the thing, my partner is close with Gem too, and they joke about running away together. When this was brought up, they brushed it off, and said the podcast cannot continue due to Gem and I's behavior. This entire time, Chuck was basically silent, only noting that trust was broken. Worst example of something they consider to be disgusting behavior, once I made plans to meet up with Gem. She ended up being near my work, so I grabbed dinner with her and her brother the night before we planned. We all still spent the next day together as scheduled, partner included. Gem and I bought each other dice. When explaining nothing bad happened, they insisted we had secret meetings and that our behavior is cheating. They even said that buying dice for each other made May want to throw up. This was probably the worst behavior brought up in the 45 minutes of being screamed at. This entire time, no one asked to speak to my partner or Eve. Since then, the 3 of them have told most people in our community about our affair. Gem has not stopped apologizing for telling May things about us, but we are fine as she did not disclose anything I consider private. Gem explained that she was wary of me at first from past experiences but that stopped when she got to know me, meaning the issues brought up now are over 6 months old. I feel that the 3 of them are trying to make sure they are not seen as the reason the show is ending, and using us as scapegoats. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.